The highway connecting Shillong to Dauki passes through some of the most formidable terrain, and the journey offers amazing views of the mist-covered canyons and the breathtaking natural beauty of the land. About 300 meters from Pinursla, we turn right on a dusty track to proceed towards a village tucked away in a tropical paradise. This is the place to visit when you want to get away from the crowds in the city. On entering the village, the first thing that came across was the greenery all around. We've just reached Shiliang Jashar village. We are at the end of the road. This is called the station. From here we're going to trek, and you can join me in the trek to the waterfalls and the root bridges in and around this village. The village, Shiliang Jashar, got its name from the river Jashar flowing east of the village. This nondescript village 64 kilometers from Shillong had many surprises in store for us. The houses were closely positioned together with garden courtyards forming the boundary between them. The people are curious onlookers studying us as we started walking to the river Jashar. The children gathered around, eager to find out more about what we were doing in their village. There are not too many visitors coming to the village, and we must have arrived after many days. But overall, it was an impressive welcome. Everything about the place looks organic. The houses, the people, the neighborhood, and the surrounding natural beauty. The river is some distance away, and it's an easy trek to get there. So along the trek we've just come across this basket, and this is the basket where they keep the betel nut. Betel nut is the main cash crop in this village, Shiliang Jashar. This is basically half done, and it'll take about another 1 day to finish this basket, where they'll keep about 8,000 pieces of betel nut, and after that they put it in a pond where it's allowed to ferment. Pass through interesting passages and broom grass fields along the way. The trail starts descending as we walk down the stone path. From here, we could hear the sound of the river below. After some time, we reach one of the river pools called Pung Ringnger. It had an arched bamboo bridge across the river pool. Shiliang Jashar is home to many bridges. In fact, the villagers are skillful bridge makers. We've reached Jashar River, and what you see behind me is this traditional bridge which is made entirely out of bamboo and cane. Once a year, the community descends on the river and constructs and repairs the bridge. It is a social event that binds the people together. The bamboo bridge is a narrow one but very sturdy. It is suspended and bound together with strips of cane. The 40-meter long bridge is supported on both ends by firmly anchored, thick bamboo posts. The deck is also laid with bamboo tied firmly at intervals. The side rails are a combination of bamboo, cane and wood bound together securely. The river Jashar flows through an incredible landscape, and its course is full of surprises with a number of waterfalls and pools that add to the charm of this waterway. Further downstream, the river rushes down a gradient and precipice, forming one of the most impressive waterfalls ever. Even though the volume of water is less than what it used to be during the monsoons, the river offered us an amazing view of its various features, including many more smaller hidden pools and waterfalls. The walk was an interesting experience that took us through rocks and boulders along the river. We followed the river to discover a most pretty sight. It was a small waterfall that drained into a gentle river pool. We stopped by for some time to refresh ourselves in the cool waters. One of the best things about trekking is when you see such crystal clear waters, you want to dip into them. When an opportunity like this comes along the journey, you do not throw it away, but just follow your natural instincts. We jumped into the pool and swam. It was a perfect setting on a beautiful day. After the swim and feeling much more energized, we continued with our trek on the rocky riverbed. It did not take us a long time to reach the falls. Here the waters spread and cascade down over a wide sloping bedrock and then plunge deep down below. Urkirmin Falls is a spectacular waterfall at least 50 meters wide and falls more than 150 meters. From high above, the falls can be seen disappearing into a dark abyss. There are about 3 levels of the falls, which at this time of the year can be trekked and seen up close from the side. It is one of the mesmerizing waterfalls in the Khasi Hills. is the grand finale of the Jashar River, a fitting tribute to a panoramic river which we had the wonderful experience of walking a section of its course. I sat on the rock for some time, immersing ourselves in this breathtaking environment. Next to the Jashar River is a very old root bridge which we discovered after crossing the river to the other side. I took a walk on the bridge trying to figure out its age. But as in other root bridges, it is a difficult thing to know exactly the number of years that the structure has existed. Just besides the Urkurman waterfall, we have this root bridge, and this root bridge is a unique phenomena of the Khasi Hills. These are the roots, the hanging roots of the bridge, and what you see here is a thin tendril. But in a matter of 10 to 20 years, these tendrils become this big. And these are the railings of the bridge. And the bridge has been fashioned and crafted from these thin tendrils to make it what it is today. From there, we moved on to the village, climbing up the path laid with blocks of stone. On the way, we came across another root bridge that rested over a crevice. The architecture by our forefathers is an amazing one. The root bridges are bioengineered to last for a very long time. As per the accounts of the elders of the village, this bridge has been in existence from the time of the great-great-grandfather. This root bridge has its own structure, and if you look at this bridge, this is what we call the Anchorage, where the bridge is rooted here, and on both ends of this bridge you have the anchorage. And if you look up, these roots which have become this big, these act as trusses, and you find these trusses along the bridge, along with the railings, and it's amazing to see that a thin tendril like this can grow up to this size, this size, this size, and this size. And below you have the load-bearing support, which is also made up of the roots of this Ficus elastica. And what the people have done is they have intertwined all the roots of this bridge, and on top of this they have kept these slabs of stones to make it easier to walk. In most cases, the generation that built the root structures do not live to see the work complete. It is their sons and daughters that reap the fruit of their forefathers' labor. The bridges, besides being functional structures connecting one place to another, are also social entities in the sense that it's the community that builds and maintains them, passing on the knowledge generation after generation. The Khasi Hills is characterized by river valleys and canyons, and apparently these river valleys and canyons are nothing but fault lines. These fault lines are caused by tectonic movement, and an example of this fault line is what you see here. And to show you an example how deep this fault line is, I'm going to throw a stone down below. climb was not so tiring, and on reaching the village outskirts, we stopped by one of the traditional huts. Wood is an important element in the day-to-day life of the people here. From their cooking to building their huts, the villagers depend on a ready supply of wood. The resources for building the hut are locally available. The structure is simple, but there's a lot of effort put into the craftsmanship of the hut. It rests on a bamboo platform that is propped up by foundation stones all around. The walls are made of bamboo slats woven together. Inside, there's a single common room with a wooden floor. Next to the common room is a small kitchen. Beekeeping is another popular activity of many villages in these hills. The honey of Shiliang Jashar village is quite well known and has high demand because of its light and clear texture and sweet floral taste. We then drove to the center of the village and walked the rest of the way to find out more about the place and its people. Most of the villagers are of the indigenous faith. The practice of burying or interring the bones of the dead in burial stone chambers after the cremation used to be a common practice among the various clans. So we are in the middle of Shiliang Jashar village, and what you see here is a burial ground. This is an ancient practice of the Khasi or Hinyo people, where they intern the bones of the dead of a particular clan. This is the ossuary of the Khongtiangwar clan of this village, and the clan members, the dead of the clan members, their bones are interned here. Shiliang Jashar village is full of surprises. What you see here is a termite mound which has been brought from the forest, and this is an indigenous method of feeding the young hatched chicks. And what they do is, you can see the termites here. These termites are the food for the hatchlings, and this is the first time that I'm seeing such a thing in the villages of Khasi Hills. There's a variety of food available in the forests of Shiliang Jashar. Wild berries and fruits are a favorite amongst the youngsters here. From the village, we trekked to the outskirts, following a trail that led past a broom grass plantation and down a steep gradient that had a bamboo ladder. Further down, the roots of the ficus tree were used, coupled with bamboo and wood, along an almost perpendicular path. We had to get down on all fours to navigate this short stretch of the way. Without the roots holding the path together, it would have been impossible to even make a single step here. In a sense, the Ficus elastica or rubber tree is a life-giving organism. Without these ladders and bridges, the villagers would not have been able to go to their fields or collect any natural resources for their survival. We've come to the end of the trail, and it is indeed an awesome sight. We are somewhere in the middle of the cliff face which overlooks a deep valley, and on the other side are the canyon walls. Waterfalls plummet down from the cracks in the cliff face to the valley below. It is lush and green down there and almost inaccessible, except that man always has a way. The icing on the cake in this amazing landscape is the root ladder, the rarest of rare structures in the root-rich culture of the Khasis. This is a work of sublime craftsmanship. It was a privilege to be here besides the root ladder in Shiliang, Jashar. Recently, to ease the journey of the farmers up and down this steep rock face, the government has constructed a concrete footpath of steps along the toughest portion of the trail. I did the honors of paying my respect to the men who built this ingenious organic piece of architecture and climbed up the root ladder. Well, this is the surprise that I've been telling you all this time. This is the best kept secret of Shiliang Jashar village. This is a root ladder and it's about 50 feet and I'm going to climb this up. Our journey to Shiliang Jashar has come to an end. In the middle of a precipice, we are all safe and sound, and this was one awesome climb to get back home.